So the bonnet was rattling around quite so much. Basically, what you got these two buffer stops here and here, safety catch, and in the middle is obviously the plunger which goes down into there. Plunger is quite a common fracture point, and look, it's fractured again. I've even put this big piece of fairly thin steel, admittedly, over the top there to try and stop it from fracturing again. It's lasted maybe a couple of years. This thing needs sorting out desperately. Poor car. Right, so I'm going to drill, undo the catch, drill the spot welds, cut another lump of steel, because I've got a load, isn't it? Cut another lump of steel, drill it out for captive nuts and so forth, and then pop it back up. Oh yes. So bonnet's now up on the bench. A little bit of a struggle manhandling this thing. It's fucking huge. Sorry, bit of a struggle manhandling this thing because it is rather large. There's also demonstrating my lack of any care for this car over the last few months or so. So I'm going to get, the reason I took it off is not just because this needs doing properly, and that was a get me home fix that I did about 2.5, nearly 3 years ago. I checked the records, but you can see that the metal is as flimsy as you like. So what I'm going to do is cut out this chunk along here, probably along that line there, and then weld, seam weld a nice big piece in with a hole cut in the middle, so I can put the captive screws through again, and mount the catch. So that's the bit, that's the plunger, that's the lock plunger. So we really must thank our safety catch for allowing the bonnet to stay closed. This really is quite crunchy down here, but not beyond it, I don't think. I think it's just, I'm going to flat this all back and zinc coat it and get it ready to be painted. I think I might have just caught this bonnet. You can see up the edges here, just surface corrosion up the edges. It's going to be prep wheeled back, and I can drop it over to Steve and just get him to paint it. It's part of the restoration of my car, which is starting. So I think I need to slice around here first of all, start drilling out spot welds where they exist. I can see one there. I'll get the wire brush on it and we'll find the spot welds in a second, and then cut that all off. And then we've got the outer skin and the inner shell. So this piece of metal here is that piece there, and it's painted inside and out, but in there you can see it's pretty much only primer inside there, and the same in there, just about primer. So before this goes back on the car, I'm going to fill it up with wax, and this is the problem with these Range Rover bonnets, is I think they didn't really bother too much about any of the prep before they put these panels on, which is ludicrous really, considering the expense of these vehicles when they were brand spanking new, that they couldn't be asked. I suppose got to build in obsolescence. They wanted them all to buy new VLARs, didn't they? Oh yes. Right, okay, there's mild distraction from this. It's Thursday, so what is it, 20 to 6, I've got 20 minutes. I'll see if I can drill some of the spot welds out now, and then I'm going to the pub because we're having food at the pub tonight. And so the Daily currently is wearing an In Vogue bonnet, which I've just dropped in place just to keep the weather out, because the weather has been coming into the back of the barn. It's been coming in from that direction. I've got a little pond on top of my fuel tank, washing the chassis off. There's quite a lot of water in here. I've got to get a top tailgate, I think, and fit that on it. Keep the worst of this weather out. Hopefully going to get the roof back in a day or two. Not tomorrow, because I need to use that one to get it, and I've got to fix this first. So this is the first job. Let's get this done. Stop gabbing on about it. The rust converter I'm using is from Rustbuster FE123 molecular rust converter. I've used this a fair bit in the past, and had good results with it. So really the key thing to do is to clean up any loose rust, loose paint, blah 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 blah, like I've done use a flap disc. It needs some rust on the surface in order to convert it, so it's pointless flapping everything back to shiny bare steel and then putting this stuff on, waste of time. But for the inside of here, taken all the loose paint off, painted this stuff on. It goes blue, then purple, and then eventually it ends up black. And black is when it has converted to steel. And if I show you something that I prepared earlier on, here's the strip that's going to go under the bonnet. Now, where there was rust on it that needed treating, it's gone black. Other bits have gone blue. And then there's some strange colours on there as well. So I'm actually going to take all of this off again and do it again, because I don't think that has converted that rust correctly, or there wasn't actually rust on this area. You see, it's converted that bit. Maybe there just wasn't any rust there, which is why it's gone brown. You can see where it has converted the rust. No, I think I'm not going to leave that, because I do remember this one. This wasn't the bad one. This was acceptable. This was the worst surface. You can see there's more black conversion taking place on there as we go up and down. So that's what it looks like when it's finished. But you've got to top coat this stuff, or you've got to protect it. You can't just put this rust converter on and then leave it, because it will just rust again. So I've been going through the shed trying to find anything heavy duty paint that sticks like shit to a blanket that I can brush on. Hammerite isn't what it used to be. It just flakes off again. It doesn't protect against anything really, in my humble opinion. So I'm going to put this extreme chassis black paint on the inside here. It's the stuff I use on the fuel tank, on the outside of the fuel tank. I haven't got anything else really I can brush paint on. I've got epoxy 2-pack primers. I could spray that on, I suppose, but it just makes a fucking great mess. I've got an epoxy 2-pack primer, but I could brush that on, I suppose. It will seal it, but despite what the manufacturers claimed about it, you can paint it on and nothing will ever rust through. I have found that rust has broken through it. Possibly because I haven't converted it properly in the first place. Can't do anything for a couple of hours with this, because this needs to completely go off and dry before I can put anything over the top of it. So that's that done now for a couple of hours. I'm going to crack on with the project. I'll put that bit on a bit too thick there. You can see it's... Just brush that out. If it goes on too thick, it doesn't... unless we're using the correct use of my workshop tool Basil. UK viewers will understand the reference. Short while later, i.e. the next day. Right, I used an epoxy primer, 2-pack primer. It'll do for now. I've treated all of the exposed, you can't see any of that. I've treated all of the exposed areas. There we are, aperture change. I've treated all of the exposed areas, and it's good enough. Reconnected the wiring. Broken the bloody alarm switch, which is somewhat irritating. I'm going to have to look for that little bit in a minute. I expect it's disappeared down the back there, but I think I broke it when I pulled the spare bonnet off. What a tool. Anyway, so everything's all adjusted up, and let's put the catch up there, you can't see it. Adjusted it all up, and yeah, that'll do. Barely any wiggle now. Right, I can get on with other fucking shit. Right, I can get on with other stuff now. Update on the alarm sensor for the bonnet. I can't find the bits. They've disappeared somewhere. I can't be asked. I've disconnected it from the alarm loom, and the alarm is working. So I'll get another switch. These are the bits I have managed to recover. A very long spring and a damper bit, but it looks like there's some sort of plunger that goes on the top as well.